Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? What is going on, Jayhawk Nation? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy. And this video, we're going to be previewing two absolute heavyweights in college basketball that will be squaring off in Lawrence, Kansas, inside the greatest basketball venue in all of the nation, in Allen Fieldhouse. This place is going to be next level, ladies and gentlemen. The student section is going to be camping out for days. The preparation for this is going to be amplified. There's NBA talent on the court. You have two absolutely dominant college basketball coaches. I mean, this one is going to be a worthy watch if you're not even a fan of these two fan bases. I mean, this is going to be insane to see. And we're getting it in December. That's what's crazy. Typically, this would be a game you would see in the Final Four or maybe a national championship. No, we're getting it in December. It's going to be awesome. We're going to jump in. We're really going to talk about this preview. Now, before we get too deep, I want to recap just a tiny bit. The Kansas Jayhawks did go to Las Vegas during kind of the holiday time for Thanksgiving. They would go 3-0. They defeated the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They defeated the Syracuse Orange. And they erased a 12-point second-half deficit to defeat the Tennessee Volunteers, going 3-0 in the tournament and really kind of sending a statement, knocking off the number 17 team in the country. It was a great game, absolutely phenomenal game. They played well, and I think that bodes well for them getting ready to face UConn inside Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, it really built some momentum, and they did that without their premier player in Darren Peterson. So let's jump on in and really kind of dissect this game. Now, the two college basketball premier programs meet under the bright lights of Allen Fieldhouse on December 2nd, which is a Tuesday, as the UConn Huskies travel to Lawrence to face the Kansas Jayhawks in a non-conference showdown that carries March-level implications. ESPN2 will be on the call, and a primetime tip-off of 8 p.m. Central Standard Time will have every eye in America on this game. This matchup brings together elite coaching, NBA caliber talent, and two fan bases that view games like this as a measuring stick for the postseason and the potential. I think this type of game for Kansas really prepares them, again, for the Big 12 stretch that's going to be coming. This is going to build momentum. If you come out victorious against the UConn Huskies, you're really kind of building and generating that power that you need when you're taking on this Big 12 the conference. So the UConn Huskies, what really do they provide? They power, depth, and championship DNA. UConn enters this matchup with the same core identity that has made the program a national force. They play physical basketball, they're very disciplined on defense, balanced scoring, and they are pretty solid when it comes to shooting the three ball. So UConn so far this season, through their first 7 games, UConn is 6-1, with their losses coming to another their one loss coming to another Big 12 opponent in Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, we know how Arizona is. If you've been watching college basketball, Arizona, an absolute force. They have beat BYU and Illinois, so UConn has been a little bit battle-tested so far this year. Outside of that, they've really not played a ton of opponents, but those are pretty solid wins and one kind of big loss. The team has been efficient offensively. They're shooting 51% from the field, pulling down about 35.3 rebounds per game. On the season, UConn averages around 83.8 points per game, so really kind of getting a lot of good scoring in. Defensively and overall team balance have been their strong suit, really, for them. UConn limits opponents to roughly 61.3 points per game, so they really kind of locked down, while forcing turnovers and controlling the glass. Now, when it comes to Kansas, which we'll talk about, forcing turnovers, that's something I'm kind of concerned with, which we'll talk about. The Jayhawks lately have been turning over the basketball, but controlling the glass, that is something that the Jayhawks are also very good at. So in short, UConn is showing balance, efficiency, and depth. Their offense runs smoothly, they rebound and defend extremely well, and they're hitting the glass hard. So some players to watch, and it's mostly their starting lineup plus one bench player. So Alex Karabon, the front court anchor, leads the team in scoring and rebounding. He has around 14.3 points per game and 5.2 rebounds per game so far. The next one is Silas Damari Jr., the primary playmaker. He's dishing out about 6.3 assists per game and also contributes with the steals and the perimeter defense. So he's going to be playing pretty solid. I'll be curious. One of the big things we're going to be talking about is Darren Peterson going to play in this game. You know, he really is kind of sat out in preparation, I believe, for this game. And if he comes back, I think Silas and Darren are going to be going head-to-head potentially. Solo Ball is another one to pay attention to. He's a guard with scoring and speed. He's a big body type of guard. When he's on, he gives UConn a boost in transition and outside shooting, making him important for pacing and the matchup. And I'll be curious to kind of see how he really kind of cohesively builds in and who's going to cover him defensively. Malachi Smith's somebody that comes off the bench and is already showing pretty significant value for this team. His ability to contribute points and create plays gives the Huskies depth. Useful when starters rest or face foul trouble, so really pay attention to Malachi Smith coming off. Now, their key strengths are obviously their front court dominance. The Huskies typically feature one of the strongest interior rotations in the country, mixing rim protection, rebounding, and efficient scoring around the basket. Their ball movement is something to really pay attention to as well because they like to play a little bit up-tempo. UConn's offense thrives on spacing and unselfish passing, routinely ranking among national leaders in assists and shooting efficiency. And then their defensive versatility, their ability to really kind of just play defensive lockdown defense. The Huskies switch well. They contest shots the way they should at all three levels and rarely give up second chance opportunities. So it's going to be one of those games where you have to be on your A++ type of game, especially for the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, what they need to do, in order to steal a win, they have to come into Allen Fieldhouse and really kind of find a way to drown out the toughest environment in all of college basketball. The composure against the crowd, strong rebounding numbers because they're going to have to compete against one of the strongest rebounding teams in college basketball, the Kansas Jayhawks, limit Kansas's transition burst, and knock down perimeter shots to stretch the Jayhawks defense. That's something we really kind of paid attention to as Kansas fans, is how well we defend the three ball. You know, there's often times where we get slow off of transitions, we get slow off of screens that really kind of establish that three-point shot. So being able to fight through those screens and really play lockdown tight defense will be key in this game for Kansas. So Kansas so far, as you all are aware, because everyone that watches this channel are Kansas Jayhawk fans, so obviously they're making waves. They've played a strong schedule, which we'll talk about. Flory Badunga has stood out so far, second on the team in scoring, and realistically, if you take Darren Peterson away, he is the leading scorer with 15.8 points per game and leads the team in rebounds with 8.4 rebounds per game. While contributing defensively with his blocks, he's been very well at blocking the basketball. That's something I really think he's kind of upgraded. I would say in the offseason, he's really kind of able to understand when a player is going up to shoot, and we've seen those balls go flying in the first row because he is swatting shots, ladies and gentlemen. He's been an absolute workhorse up and will be needed in this game. Now, Melvin Council Jr., ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big time, I've really changed kind of and it's not that I dislike Melvin Council Jr., it's just, I think he really had to build his ability to understand the highest level of college basketball. And he's there. I mean, he's a dog, and we know that from the last game, that he's a primary facilitator. He's running the offense, setting up teammates, and providing guard play stability with 5.2 assists per game. His decision-making and ball handling will be critical, not turning the basketball over. As the competition ramps up, this is a specific game where that competition is ramping up. He's averaging 10.8 points per game, but if Darren comes back, I'll be interested to see how him and obviously Melvin Council really cohesively work in that front court. You know, if Darren comes back, it's going to be an awesome guard combo, and they will match up really well against this UConn team. Now, Trey White, ladies and gentlemen, Trey White has stepped up in a massive way, not only on the basketball court, but as a leader. He's really kind of been that guy that I feel like people are going to for experience, to talk through things. I mean, Trey White is an athletic basketball player. He offers the ability to shoot the three ball. He plays extremely well defense. He's offering high energy. He's got good perimeter defense, and he's averaging 14.4 points per game. He's tied with Bryson Tiller in rebounds, averaging 6.4 a game. And Trey White, ladies and gentlemen, has been that dude. So I'm excited to see how Trey White really plays in this game. He's going to have to step up, and you're probably going to have to say that for everyone. Bryson Tiller is another one. Bryson has been playing extremely well, but unfortunately he went silent on scoring against the Vols. We'll need that presence felt in this game. You're going to need your big and 7 guy that's extremely athletic, that moves like a guard, to play at a very high level. Stay out of foul trouble. Do what you're good at doing, and that's driving, drawing attention, kicking it up to Flory, doing all the things that you need to do. And it's going to be interesting. If Darren comes back, I think this entire unit's going to play extremely well together. Tiller is averaging 9.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, and 1.1 blocks per game. This is a big thing. Stay out of foul trouble, buddy. If you can stay out of foul trouble, Bryson, you are going to have a phenomenal game. I already know it. Now, what to watch for, and I really think that's the biggest thing with Kansas, is the front court and their depth. If Badunga continues to deliver, Tiller and possibly others help with rebounding, because we've seen Trey White really kind of step up in the rebounding category. You're going to have a good competition, really kind of match up well against this UConn Huskies team. Kansas will have a strong big man plus depth rotation, because we've seen guys like Elmarco Jackson come out of nowhere and play at an extremely high level. We've seen guys like Jamari McDowell step up in a massive way and hit some clutch shots and really played solid defense. So you're adding your really good starting rotation, and now you're incorporating a good bench, really good depth rotation that you have. I think this is going to be a good thing for Kansas as they go against one of the best teams in the country. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter, and let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Now, defense and transition offense, I think to me, that's another really major thing to watch with this Kansas team. There are stretches where they let the other team kind of control the tempo of the game. If it gets too quick, Kansas can often go into cold spells, and we've seen that multiple times this year. We saw it in the second half against Tennessee. We saw it really kind of in that Syracuse games where there's stretches of 2 to 4 minutes where Kansas just does not find a way to put the ball in the hoop. And they go on these cold stretches, and it allows the opponent to really get on decent runs. They're going to have to really limit that against a very good powerhouse UConn Huskies team, because we've seen when the game kind of gets out of the Kansas Jayhawks' hands, in similar fashion to the North Carolina Tar Heels, in similar fashion to the Duke Blue Devils, it's hard to really stay and maintain with those guys. You know, Kansas has kind of struggled when it comes to shooting the three ball. Most of those teams have knocked down the threes, clutch threes when they really needed to. Now, they've been without the best player in the country in Darren Peterson, so if he's reinserted, you're now incorporating one of the best three-point shooters, one of the purest shooters in the game, back into this lineup. So that's really going to be something to pay attention to. We just have not gotten any information yet whether Darren's going to be available or not. I would anticipate he's going to be, because he's rested for a period of time. He's really given that hamstring an opportunity to recover. And I would expect, you know, just from what we're hearing with Bill Self, he's really kind of been working his way back in. He's been practicing. And, you know, another one to kind of see how is Jaden Dawson. Jaden Dawson injured his wrist in a pregame. I believe it was against the Syracuse Orange. He was going up for a dunk and kind of hurt his wrist. He played a little bit in that game, but then sat out the remainder of the tournament. So I'd be curious to see if he's going to be available in this game. I think you're going to need all hands on deck. Now, Kansas Jayhawks speed, skill, and home court firepower. That's key strengths. I mean, dynamic guard play. Kansas thrives when its guards push the tempo, create mismatches, control the pace. Because what they're doing is they start to work high-low. They start to really kind of feed down the floor. They start to open their offense up, which allows them to really move the basketball. They start to run really effective screens, which opens guys as well to knock down shots or feed it down low. And that's really what's been successful is Bryson Tiller as well as Flory Badunga working together. If one kind of draws the attention, it kind of frees up the other one, which allows for easy buckets. That's another thing with Trey White. He's been pretty aggressive. And that's another major thing with Melvin Council Jr. You know, he struggled from shooting, but he gets to the line. He gets to the stripe and then is almost perfect from the free throw line. So continuing that is going to be massive. Now, Allen Fieldhouse. I don't know what else needs to be said about Allen Fieldhouse. The aura, the environment that is Allen Fieldhouse. You walk in, and I've mentioned this in multiple videos, but I think when you're really playing a team like the UConn Huskies, it just amplifies that much more. You walk in, and it's almost an intimidation factor in itself. Allen Fieldhouse, you walk in, you look up in the rafters, and to me, that's what just hits hard for me, is you see all the Big 12 championships, you see all the runs they've made in the postseason, whether it's Final Four appearances, Elite Eights, then you pan over and you see all the retired jerseys. You look over and you see all the All-Americans and how much of a culture and historical value that this Kansas Jayhawks basketball program has really provided college basketball. I mean, there is an environment, let alone you're going to be talking about a crowd that is going to take this volume to unbearable limits for the opponent. It's going to be something to really pay attention to. And the final thing for that is defensive pressure. Kansas is one of the top teams in Ken Palm when it comes to defense, probably similar to what UConn is. Kansas uses its length and speed to force turnovers, test passing lanes, and turn defense into easy offense. And so if they can find ways to really force UConn into bad shots, they force turnovers, I would expect Kansas to kind of do their thing and stay in this game and make it a very competitive basketball game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout either way. I think Kansas and UConn are going to go head-to-head. I would imagine this is probably not going to be an extremely high-scoring basketball game because they're going to be playing such, chokehold type of defense. It's going to be important to really play good defense in this game. So what they need to do to beat UConn, Kansas is going to have to control the pace. Fast but not rushed. That's the key thing right there. They're going to have to play fast, but they're not going to be rushed because if they get rushed, that's where they force shots. That's where they start to get behind because the other team capitalizes, and you really can't force and rush the offensive, how you really establish your offense. Winning the battle on the perimeter, that's going to be one of the most important things too. They have the ability to shoot the three ball. You're going to have to lock down on the defense. Defense. Getting production from the bench to really match UConn's depth. And I think that's a strength for Kansas. We're really seeing our depth step up in a massive way this year, not only offensively, but defensively. So Bill is going to be able to go to his bench if guys get into foul trouble. My biggest concern is that if your bigs get into foul trouble, you're going to have to play small, and they're going to have to be able to kind of contain. I would expect Trey White to have to, transition down and work kind of a little bit lower. And then you might see a little bit of Palm and Baya and some things like that. So let's hope that doesn't happen and this stays very competitive and guys just don't get into foul trouble. Now, the final thing is X factors. And I think what really UConn has from the X factor standpoint is the fact that they do have that perimeter shooting, the three-point ball, that they're very good at shooting. If the Huskies hit from deep, their spacing becomes a major problem. And I think that's something that really hinders Kansas is that if they really space out this floor, they really move the ball extremely well, Kansas might have to struggle a little bit when it comes to guarding those guys and really kind of locking down on defense. Kansas's bench production, but I think also another X factor, and it can be easily added into this, is the fact that we just don't know about Darren Peterson at this moment. If Darren Peterson is back, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to amplify this team that much more. They're getting their premier player back. We know what he can provide. We know his ability, who he's been comped to. We know where he's projected to go in the NBA draft. You're inserting all that back into this lineup, and I think that'll be massive. Now, the bench production, Jayhawk depth has swung early this season, specifically in recent games. We've seen the very talented bench come in and produce. We saw Elmarco Jackson put up 17 points against Tennessee. We've seen Jamari McDowell hit massive threes, play solid defense, and score a decent amount when he needs to. He doesn't take forced shots. He takes the shots that he needs to do, and he plays good defense. Energy from the reserves is going to amplify this starting rotation, and it's going to help the Kansas Jayhawks come out victorious. I can't thank y'all enough for this video support. It means so much to me. The Kansas Jayhawks have really kind of helped my channel. It's something I'm super passionate about. I really, really appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.